All right, hello. Um, I noticed that you can watch Towering Inferno right now on YouTube for free, and I couldn't resist. So, because a lot of people have talked about the Towering Inferno and its connections to 9/11. Okay, and there are a lot of numbers that connect with 9/11 in this, not just the symbolism of the tower and the thing on fire and people falling from this tower while it's on fire, and not just the symbolism of the whole thing and the fact that it actually, the building itself, you can kind of get the twin towers out of the look of the building, but there's a lot of numbers involved in this thing. But what I'm going to say is, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this one before, but I've never seen the film, and so of course I couldn't resist, and I've watched it. It's definitely worth a watch while it's on YouTube. That's why I'm doing the video right now, just in case it comes down off of YouTube and then I can't get to these parts to show you what I want to show you. But it's definitely worth a watch, but it's not the kind of film that I would normally gravitate towards. It's definitely not a film that I would watch over and over again, that's for sure. I might watch it with a long gap between, I might watch this again in a couple of years' time or whatever, but it's not the kind of film that I would sit and watch again, that's for sure, in a great hurry. It was okay. I'm going to leave it at that. A super duper cast of actors in it. They really went to town with putting the actors in it, actors, actresses. There's a couple of these that we're going to look at, one in particular. But what I want to show you really is, and this is going to be spoiler alert. I mean, obviously, just looking at the artwork for this thing, you can actually figure out what's going to happen, or you can just read it in Wikipedia. But just the name of the film kind of gives away what's going to happen. But anyway, spoiler alert right now, because I'm going to tell you how the film ends up. And the film ends up, and I don't know whether I've read this before and talked about it in another video years ago, but what happens is, at the top of this tower there are some water tanks, and what they end up doing is they end up blowing up the water tanks in order to quench the fire. Okay, so with that being said, obviously there is a connection to the idea of the very big water tank of the Hoover Dam being connected as a final episode in the whole 9/11 saga. Yeah, and it's all contained within this film. So let's just get into it, because there's about 3 or 4. I'll show you some of the 9/11 stuff. I mean, I'm not going to do every. I've got like about 30 points in this video. In the actual film itself, where we could go and look at numbers, but I'm going to just focus in on about half a dozen. I think there's probably way more encoded in this than I'm realizing right now. But let's start off by going to the film, and I've got it in the right spot for the first reference, right? So we're at a point in the film, we're very towards the end now, and they're getting ready to blow up these tanks that are up near the roof. And what we have here is we have everybody tying themselves up, ready for this influx of water. They don't want to get washed away. Okay, and so everybody's tying themselves up. So this is the first reference right here. And what happens here is the barman, Carlos, has tied himself up, and he's holding on to this, I don't know what kind of, I'm guessing it's some kind of champagne, and it's a 29-year champagne. So we have a 29 reference. This is really important with the midnight hour of 9/1 going into 9/2, and remember, 29 is our super duper balance number. Okay, so our super duper reset number. So 9-1 leads us into that. Okay. So again, this is again why why this scene's important. These are bottles, I think, of champagne.
Sakes, Carlos, don't tie yourself up to a lot of glass. That's the 29.
Did you? I don't know if you heard that. I haven't got my speaker on right now. The thing drives me nuts. But so I can't hear what's going on. But you can see it here in the closed captioning. That's the 29. It's just pulled it away from him. So we have this reference to that's the 29 there. Okay. So let's move on because I want to show you this next little bit here, which is this is Steve McQueen's character. He's the fire chief, and he's being lifted up to the roof with in the helicopter. Oh, I can't get on the helicopter, of course not. Hang on, I've got these numbers written down. 21. So we've got to go back just a little bit here. So we might be able to get it right here. Right here. Okay. This I thought was interesting. I think this is just rescue 1. Anyway, there is what appears to be a 1 on the door here, maybe. I'm not sure. There's no other numbers on this helicopter as I can make out, but I just thought it was interesting with the number 1 there. Okay. What I wanted to show you though is on this door of the number 1. Okay, because this is interesting with the reference back to Neo being the 1, and also we're going to go back to Back to the Future with this reference as well. So when we get up to the roof, let's see if I can get on it. Let's see, I'll go just a little bit more. Hang on, bear with me. Okay, this is what I wanted. So we'll just back this up a little bit. But I think this is worth showing, this little clip. Let's see if I can get back to it. I want to where he just opens the door on this helicopter, which is the 1. I want you to see the names on the door. Okay, there we go. So this is the 1 helicopter. It has the Fox on it, the Michael J, and the Anderson, Mr. Anderson. I thought that was pretty darned interesting. I'm gonna skip through a few things here. I want to show you. So the next thing is what I want to show you is the actual. I've got this all out of order. Hang on a minute. The next thing I want to show you is actually them getting down to blow up the tanks. So let's go to that. Hang on a second. Bear with me now. So we're going to jump on. There are some numbers on the tanks that we see. We've got a 125 number and whatnot there. Hang on. Just going to go edge just a little bit more. We're almost there. So he's just showing him how to set the explosives in this scene, or part of the scene, and then we see some of the numbers. Here's the 125 on the tanks that we first see. Okay, and we also see this right before. What's going to happen here is when they start blowing up the tanks. Where am I at? I actually only want to go on just a second here, because it's important. We want to catch this countdown clock that they're using to set the. So they're going to set the explosives off with this countdown timer clock, and they're going to set it at 5 minutes. So let me just move on, because we want to catch it right when it changes here. They're going to show the clock. Bear with me. It should be coming up any second. Hang on. Here we go. This is what was important. Okay. If you watch We Seek, We Find, okay, you'll know about the 5-9, yeah, and the 159. Now, look what we've got here on the countdown clock timer thing, okay, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But this is 5 seconds in between each one of these. So this is, each one of these is a minute, okay. And so if you can see the black hand here, it's set on the number 5. So they've got 5 minutes. They've just set this thing going. And when it cuts to the clock, the red hand is on 9. So we have a 9-5 reference. Okay. Super duper important. I don't know what else to say about it. Other than that's just crazy. And if you catch when the timer actually starts, because you can go back just a hair here, while I was catching it just at the right time, where that is there, it's actually, let me just show you something. That is where I think 9-5 is actually where the hand is actually on the 9. So I think that's just a little bit before the 9 there. So we could be indicating a 9-1 as well with this, maybe. Bit of a stretch maybe, but we've definitely got a 9-5. And that would also give us a 1-9-5 if we were just a second, when I back that, where that coming on there, where that's coming on, this is actually prior to that 9, because this is where it's like with the angle of the clock, I think right about now, hang on, right there I believe is actually on the 9 when we're looking at this, the angle of the clock here. So I think that is just a second before 9. So we have maybe a 1 reference there, which could be kind of fascinating, with the 1-9-5 and also with 9-1. Okay, so bear that in mind. That is pretty mental. So if we find fan, that is something there for you. We have various doors in here. They're fluctuating between like the 135th floor, and so we see 137, and they're on 138, I believe, or no, they're on 135, I think, or they're at least, anyway, they're somewhere between 134 to 135, 136, 137. We see all those numbers, and I think it's 138 floors, what it says tool in the Wikipedia. Okay, so you see those various doors in this scene, so to speak. So I want to take you to another point now, because we're not going to do all them doors. I can't be bothered to. Actually, we might just click through and we might randomly see one. Probably not, of course. Oh, look, there's 135. Okay, so you can see what's going on there. This was another shot of the clock. And what was interesting about this was, if I back it up a second, so they give you 3 shots of the clock. Obviously, they give it just right before 0 as well. But if you see where that comes to there, before it comes off of, now, come on. Okay, so we've got the number 2 here, okay, and the 0. So we've got a 20 here. Right before this, before we see this clock, we also see, what could I say? Just right in front of this scene, we see a guy. This guy is really important. We'll talk about him in just a second. But bear in mind that 20 that's on the clock right now with the 2 and the 0. Let's click back to this dude here. So this is just maybe a second before. Now let's go this way. They're all getting tied up. We see the 4 here. Okay. So we have 420 referenced right with this little within a second here, which is well interesting as well, because of course Easter this year was 420. So we have the death and resurrection thing that's about to occur here, which is what's occurring with the building, the burning down of the building, the death, and then the resurrection again with the birth, with the water flowing, coming out of the dam, being born again, the baptism by fire and water. So we have this 420 reference. Okay, the clock actually moves through, I think, 4 seconds as well, something like that. So you can get 2-4 out of it as well. I'm not going to faff around showing you that, but you can definitely get this 420 right here. Okay, now let me just mention something, because it cuts to this dude quite a bit, and this is the guy that's left up with him. I think he's the one firefighter that's left with them while they're doing other stuff. Okay, so this is significant, this dude here. Let's go to the Wikipedia and just look at this actor's birthday. Let me show you his birthday. So if we come down to fireman number 4, Felton Perry. Yes, right here. We've got the September the 11th birthday. He happens to be 79 this year, which is quite fascinating. I don't know if we'll go to that number jump, but 97, I believe. Let's just go to the number jump right now from 9/11. It's 97, 67 days, which is again interesting, because if we click on it, we've got the we've got the 421 in reverse with the prime number here for the Queen's birthday, and we've also got the 420 in the middle of this number as well. Quite interesting, and these numbers actually show up in the chart of Lorraine. I don't want to spend all night on this basically, but this is fairly significant. But I just thought it was interesting. So that is very interesting. Let's drop back and let's go back to the film itself. And just will rattle. So he's shown several times. So we've got this 9/11 reference keeps showing up with him. We see the clock one more time. I don't know if we need to see the clock again when it gets to 0, but when we do get to 0, what you have to understand, here it is. We're on the 1 here. We're going to 0. We've got the 10 reference. We've got also, if you look at the way this clock's set up, ground 0 is in the middle of 1 tower here and 2 towers here. So the 3 towers with ground 0 in the middle, pretty ominous. And then we've got, this is starting in right here. Let me go back so you can see. Ooh, that is on pretty much on the 1 there, with the angle we're looking at the clock. So we see it 5 seconds before, down to 0. So we have 1, 5, and 0. 105 is 9/11 through to Christmas, to the rebirth of Christ, yeah, or the birth of Christ, or the rebirth of the sun, yeah, the winter solstice. So again, pretty interesting. You know, what else have I got here? We obviously see some stair numbers as well. Again, some different stair numbers as this is blowing up. Let me show you this stair number. 130. Very shortly. In fact, we might be able to just click onto it. Let me just show you this. So, hang on a minute. Let's see. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, I've got to go quite a ways. Hang on. Not quite a ways, but just hang on right here. Let's try right here. I can't get on it. Let me back up a second. Hang on. Might be able to just click on this one now. Dear oh dear, I know this is painful, but just saves having to have the trouble with the copyright nonsense. We should be getting to it. Come on. And as you can see, the water gushing as the tanks blow, the tanks being the Hoover Dam, the water gushing everywhere, and this rebirth event. Well, I feel like I've gone by it. I feel like we've had the That's pretty bad, isn't it? That's a bit annoying, to be quite honest. Just can't quite. Yeah, I know there's a. I know people have told me before you can just click on that and then drag it back, kind of get it to pop up. Hang on, let me back up just a second to see if we can't get to this. Because I think it's worth showing it anyway. I'll tell you one other thing that is interesting with. Well, for some reason I'm not seeing that. It must be like a. Let me see if I've got this somewhere else. Hang on a minute. 1, 2. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to see it because I'm a whole minute off. God damn, come on. Might be able to just drag it actually, but right here. What I was going to say, what is interesting, here we go, is, there we go, we've got to it, blimmin' hell, painful. With the idea of the water tanks at the top of the building is fairly interesting as well with the Space Needle, because if you travel across America, right, you will notice that every town has its own mini Space Needle, and it's a big tank of water sitting aloft a tower. Okay, some of them. I've seen some water towers that do look more like the Space Needle than other, more like a sort of a Space Needle-y shape than others. But the idea of the water tower and the Space Needle, again, similar ideas there as well. Anyway, here's our 116 here. So again, with JL's 611 date for the Space Needle, could be fairly interesting here with a reference maybe, or could just be a 911 reference. Again, what else have I got? I want to show you, and this shows up again when the water's when the water's quenched the fire. So they show this twice. We're not going to go to the other one because that was painful enough just getting to that one. I want to show you one more thing, and then I'll call it a day, because I want to show you a 9-1 reference now in here as well, and that would be what I've got. Okay, yeah, 2. Let's see. Let's see if we get to it. 34. There we go. Got to go a little bit further. Oh, there's also a 112 reference with the floors. That's actually just right after. This is the one I want right here. Let's see if we go to it. Yes. Okay, this is Fred Astaire on the floor here. And there's a lot of like symbolism with the stair steps with water rushing over. So we have that the St. Francis Dam thing as well with the stair step, with that dam collapse referenced. And we also, so this is what's important, is this is a lamppost here, lying on the top of Fred Astaire. Now Fred Astaire's, I want to say his birthday. Let's just double check real quick. Fred Astaire's birthday is May the 10th. So I've talked about May the 10th in the Chart of Lorraine before, and also in that sort of decode I do with the Back to the Future stuff, with that drawn into the Chart of Lorraine, and then the 510 being there, and the 510 being a reference to May Day and to the lamppost, because the lamppost itself is a number 1 with a circle at the top, just as the maypole is a number 1 with a circle at the top, a 10 reference. But it's also a 5-1 reference, because of course everybody danced around the maypole on May Day, which is 5-1. Okay, so this 5-1 reference here, May Day reference, and again, why is that a 9-1 reference? Because it's the twin day of the year. May Day is the twin day of the year for St. Giles's Day, which is the 1st of September. So I wanted to show you that. That's important. And he throws this thing off of him in just a second as well, and gets up. I think that's all the stuff I wanted to show. Okay, quite a lot of very, very interesting numbers showing up in there, and there's way more numbers than that. I've just kind of skimmed the surface, on the numbers there. Was there anything else I wanted to show you in the actual thingamajig itself? I'll show you one more thing, because we've got Paul Newman. Okay, he's kind of the main star in the show, even though Steve McQueen's at the top here. Paul Newman, look at the birthday. Well, not the birthday, the death date, September the 26th. Let me show you why that is a 9/11 reference. Let's go to this is the chart, the Queen's Cross. Interesting with Steve McQueen there. Let's look at the bottom of this thing. Okay, we don't concern yourself with the top of this. This is the Fibonacci cycle right here. This is the first 24 digits of pi. This is the first 24 digits of phi, which is the golden ratio number. And then this is the first 24 digits of phi that has been, this set has been synchronized with this first set of Fibonacci here. Okay, so let me show you why that's synchronized, because this 88 down here is matching up with the 88 here, and also pi here, these numbers of pi is synchronized with Fibonacci as well. 358 underneath 358. So these things are lined up, and once they're lined up, now we can look at numbers that match up. So we can now look at 9/11 matches up with 9/26, and this is a super duper important number, 9/26. We see a lot of important, more actresses actually, with this connection with the 9/26. Okay, what is also interesting is if we look at this synchronized golden ratio down the bottom, phi, look what we've got. We've got Easter this year. Okay, so again, just nuts, just crazy, that kind of synchronism there. I want to say there was something else I wanted to show. Oh, and let me just show you one more thing. O.J. Simpson's in this. And just while, such a significant character, the juice, and how many times is the orange juice referenced in things, okay? But obviously the murder of Nicole Brown, I just wanted to point out, because I don't know if WeSeek's done anything on this before, but the May 19th birthday of Nicole Brown, okay, so that's an interesting one. And the fact that he's also murdering Ron Goldman, the Goldman, as well. So whether or not any of this stuff's real or what, I don't know. Just absolutely crazy. And also his death date, the 410, the 10:04 clock tower date, Las Vegas. And again, we've got the 79 in here as well. So I don't know, round in circles with stuff. But the takeaway from this is a lot of people have talked about this film and its connection to 9/11. Well, look at the end of the film, and I bet you bottom dollar this is going to connect to the destruction of the Hoover Dam as well. So anyway, pick a number out of there. Right now my hot date is 9/1, but of course you can see just how important some of those other numbers are, and they show up time and time again. 5/9 shows up time and time again. So anyway, yeah, gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you on another one. You can watch it right now. So not a bad film, not a terribly bad film. Anyway, see ya.